Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. I'm Jack. It is a cold morning where I am from in Chicago.
Oh, sorry.
Let us know where you're joining from today. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Patience Walton, creative director, graphic designer, and Adobe community expert. So you can expect some pro tips today. Patience, how's your day going? How's the weather?
It's going well. It's actually pretty cold out here in Arizona. The weather, it's shifting. So we went from it being like hotter than hot to now it's like I'm a West Coast girl. So 60 degrees for me is just absolutely cold.
Well, it's like 8 here, so
Oh, where are you?
Chicago. I'm in the
Oh,
Midwest. Yeah.
my
So
bonus dad's in Chicago. So yeah, I completely, yeah.
I'm really excited about what you're going to be sharing with us today, Patience. I love libraries. They're such a time saver, as well as Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Express. Those are like some of my favorite apps. If you are on our live chat on Behance or on YouTube, feel free to throw any questions you have out there throughout the stream to Patience and I, and we'll be happy to answer them. But for now, I'm going to just hand it over to you, Patience, so you can give us a little bit of an intro, show us some of your work, talk about what we're going to be working on today. How's that sound?
Perfect. All right. So I'm Patience, as she said. I'm a California native. I'm from Compton, California. Grew up out there in LA. I am a creative director. At this point, I served as a graphic designer. Worked in for Fortune 500 companies for years. Did like a lot of major campaigns there. And just really excited to be here. I currently, right now, like she said, serve as a Adobe community expert. I work with the apprentice program. So we have a mentor or apprentice within our my nonprofit that I lead that works with us. So I kind of mentor her. I have a lot of interns that I work with, and then I'm also a um, instructor. So I teach design at Huntington University. So I wear a lot of hats. I switch them out simultaneously, but all of them all go with design. So I love what I do. I love creating things from white space, and just super excited to be here.
Awesome. Do you have a social place that you share your work that you want to share with everybody in the chat so they can see some of your work?
So I'm one of those artists that don't really share their workout like that. So,
Okay.
I've actually in the last 2 years became an entrepreneur. So I've been working for my own agency called the Premier Design House. And I used to freelance all the time when I worked in corporate, but the last 2 years I've kind of worked on a lot of campaigns of if my artists out there who know working in entertainment, it's like big NDA. So a lot of times you create things and you can't really share your work out. So I've just gotten to a place within the last couple of months where I've worked on some social things and some campaigns where I can share those things out, but I haven't put them out there yet. But I can go through some of the things that I've created um, on like in Illustrator and things like that, and then kind of talk about the campaign I'm working on. But my artists that know, they know, like you can't really share out the work, or it's like one of those things where it's like you have it, it's like, oh, I need to post this, that, and the other. So just now getting to a place where it's like, hey, let's put your work out there. Let's talk about what the work that we're doing, and also like let's with the projects that I've done that are under NDA, do other things to kind of counteract what that is. Because when all of your work is just kind of like you can't share it, then it's like when you're asked to share work, you don't have it.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we can take a look at the project where it's kind of started and where it's kind of evolved to, and we can get into it.
Sure. So, just a little backstory about the project that I'm working on. This particular project specifically, when I was at Max, that was my first Max last, what was it, October? We're in December. So, I was at Max and I ran into a lot of people at the Adobe Express booth because I was helping to serve at the different booths while we were there that were communications directors and they worked in the comms field. And so, early on in my career, I was a communications and engagement specialist. So, what I did in that role is I created all the graphics, all of the assets for my department, but I also put on the events as well. And so, what would happen is I would create things for the department, and people would take those graphics or take whatever that I've created and decide they want to create their own stuff. And so what I noticed when I was at Max is that I ran into a lot of creative directors and a lot of people that were in departments and they were running departments. And one of the biggest issues that they said that they had is like, hey, we developed these templates in Illustrator, we developed these templates in InDesign, and unfortunately, because our consumers or our people that work in our department, they don't know how to use Illustrator or any of those tools. They'll go and create their own stuff in Canva. And so, because we have an Adobe license, we want to keep them in the Adobe products. We want to keep them in Adobe Express. We want to keep them, utilizing what we have over here versus going and creating their own stuff on a different platform after we created all this stuff. And so love Canva, no shade to it at all. However, if all of your libraries and everything is in Adobe, we don't want you going out and making your own graphics. So one of the things that I talked about in this workflow that we're going to talk about today is that this particular workflow, I'm going to create my assets for this conference that I'm working on for next year. And in creating the assets, what I'm doing is I'm developing out templates for the teams that are going to be pushing out the social graphics, right? So I'm very clear that there are some of us who are very talented and we can go in there, create the social graphics, create the copy, and just really, maintain that for the client. That's something I've done for a lot of my clients where I've created their graphics and I've managed their socials and all this. For this particular client, they have their own social media team. So what we're going to do is develop out a library for them because there are also going to be some speakers and people that have bios and people have all these things. And so we're going to develop out some templates for them to use. Like they need a letterhead header and they need some posters and like a FAQ document. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop out the assets for those things. And then I'm going to create a resource library using Adobe Express's website functionality and have it where if they click certain buttons, it'll get them to the templates that we develop out.
Nice. Yeah, I know I've seen all of those. I know at Adobe Max they had those nice templates for the various speakers and mentors, all developed where you could just kind of plug in your name and your headshot and post it to social. For
Yeah.
students
And I
to
mean,
post it.
honestly, and to be honest, I would say for communications teams specifically, like when you're talking about corporate or you're talking about people that have like large teams, giving them tools and resources to use so that way they can't adjust the fonts. They can't adjust, go in there and make something that's supposed to be pink, orange, and things like that. So
Right.
yeah, just really want
Yeah.
to make sure that there's, they have the availability to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, exactly. You want to give them enough control, but also not, you know, too much to be dangerous.
Right, exactly, exactly. Not enough to be dangerous, correct. So this project specifically, this is where we started. And the client that I'm working with, she wanted the name of the conference is called Beautifully Broken. So she wanted like the idea of like a mosaic with broken pieces. And I was like, okay, this is great. So I kind of worked on the type treatment and we made it like, gave it like a silvery, look, because I wanted it to come off the page really and not just be flat text. And I was not sold on the mosaic thing. I was gonna give her what she wanted, and this is kind of what the direction we're going in. And the other day we had a meeting about the conference, and I was like, I'm gonna take this in my own hands. Like, thank you for your, thoughts, and I'm gonna give you what you want as a client but also as a director, I know that sometimes you have to challenge the status quo and have a discussion with your client about what is visually appealing and what really will, get the person that's interacting with the graphics their attention. And so we went from this design to we landed here. So we still have the broken pieces, we still have the type treatment, but I feel like it's a lot more clean. Like it's a lot more clean. The text is clean, like you can see everything, and the broken pieces that are beautifully broken are not necessarily like coming at you, kind of like the graphic that we're looking at before. Like I feel like the mosaic pieces really like take up the entire image versus these pieces here.
Yeah, well, it's not competing with the information as much as the other one with the
Absolutely.
multicolored pieces. So,
Absolutely. And that was my biggest thing. I wanted to make sure that the information did not compete with what we're working on or what, the overall branding for the conference. And then we had just rebranded the entire organization. So we have their new monogram here. So we really just wanted to give a cleaner more concise look. So the conference graphics that I've worked on so far, we have this speaker flyer. We have a speaker flyer that's more like it's purple, it's darker. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to develop out the bio slide and a couple of other slides to kind of help with filling in the information. So right now I'm going to go based off of the pink one that we have, and I cleaned up all of my stuff. The only thing I had left on my Illustrator is this right here. Normally, it's if anybody knows, there's graphics everywhere,
Right, exactly.
stuff everywhere. But I was like, I'm going to live stream. Like I want to show my
Clean it
real
up.
workflow, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna clean up my mess a little bit and go from here. I will say this: I love Illustrator. So the biggest thing that I love right now that they did with this new update is these plus signs. Like when I can hit
Yeah,
this.
the
Oh,
artboards.
oh
Yeah.
my God, my the plus size on the artboard to make sure that I have another one without having to go. Oh my God, when I saw that come through, we want to talk about somebody that jumped for joy. Like it literally was a sigh of relief.
Yeah, the new artboard updates are pretty nice. The new rearrange as
Yeah,
well. It's
they're
pretty
pretty
cool.
great. I love them a lot. And I love the fact that I don't have to go up because of yeah, that's one of the things that I felt like were just like really really good for me. Like it really just made me very very glad. So right now what I'm doing is I'm gonna go in and I'm making they want a page for the bio, so like the speaker bio. So a lot of times with these when you're doing conferences, if you're making conference graphics on social, they want to show who's coming to speak and kind of give the people an opportunity to know who they are. And so what I also realized is that you have ADD sometimes when you're on social media, and instead of going in the caption to get the information, being able to just provide the information on the main on a main carousel is really,
Mhm.
I think, the best way to do it. And so that's one of the things that I tell my clients, that we're gonna do. So with this particular page where we have like the speaker name, the speaker title, I'm gonna create something where they can go in and add the bio for the speaker, um, so people know who they're coming to see.
Great. We've got a bunch of people joining us already in the chat. No questions yet. Let us know if you have any questions. Kieran is here. Kieran is sick today, so wasn't able to host, but is here in
No.
spirit.
Hi,
We've got
Kieran.
Yeah, feel better, Kieran. Get
Yes,
the
please
chat is
feel better.
telling him to get some chicken soup. So
No, 100%. Get some chicken soup, get some something warm, a nice little blanket, cuddle up on the couch. Rest is always great.
we've got Carol who's in Florida, and it's gonna be 83. I'm jealous of Carol.
Oh,
Frank, Sean, then over we got Nate over on YouTube and on Behance, and we've got Jacob. Oh, we've got Sean too. Can't forget Sean. Welcome in, everybody. So we're working on these are going to be social posts. This is going to be like
yeah.
a carousel where you'd have like a bio on the second slide,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep. So, yeah, this right here will be the bio. So, as you see over here, they want it like purple and pink. So, in here just trying to add the pink to the graphic, and then I just put like this a little static thing to kind of keep me posted on who the person's photo is. So my thought process is to probably have them somewhere here, just depending on who the photo is, and then add their name and like a short bio.
Now I know you've done some speaking, which kind of puts you in
Oh
a
yeah,
unique position to design these graphics as somebody who's kind of been in that world. Is this your first project working on conference graphics?
absolutely not. So in the
Okay.
working in corporate for all those years and doing comms in corporate, you're always working on some type of conference campaign or something like that. So this is not my first time really working on conference graphics, period. And because I've spoken at a lot of conferences over the course of my career in the I'd say last 20 years, I kind of, you're in the conference world, so you kind of know what to expect. What I will say is that, from a standpoint of doing it for the church, this is like I would say I've done conference graphics where it's like this is the flyer.
Mm-hmm.
So now getting into a space to where it's like where it is more so around like full, social campaigns and stuff like that. Like I've done that for other organizations, but not necessarily where it's not like, oh, let's figure out a creative way to provide the information for the client. So
Gotcha.
the other thing that I'm doing in here too is that when you take things to Adobe Express, I'm taking like the background, so I'm gonna have to add the text when I get there for them. So I'm, just kind of playing around with the placement of the text and kind of the direction that I want the text to go. So that way, when I get to Adobe Express, I know where I want the text to go. So that way they can go in and update it.
So Kieran has a question for you.
Yeah.
Patience, where do you tend to find inspiration from before you jump into designing? Like, do you have a mood
Oh.
boarding process, or
So
like
yes,
it's
I do
kind
a
of a
lot.
twofold question, really?
So the new Adobe boards, like
Mm-hmm.
I've been using that like crazy when it comes to mood boarding. So like I just throw everything on there in terms of what I want. Before I'm a girl's girl, so I love Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Like I'm on there for nail inspiration, hair inspiration, the whole 9 yards. And so I want to say within the last couple of years, about 5, 6 years, I've gone on there for some design inspiration. But lately, since I've been teaching, I've been having me and my students have been doing a lot of mood boarding from Behance. So like I've been having them go out and look at other work from other
Yeah.
people and really look at that. I will also say is I fangirl out on certain things. So like if I'm on Instagram and I see somebody like laid out a carousel a certain way and it's like, oh my God, like I think this is a really cool way to do things. I'll go and save things on my Instagram feed and then also like, just in different places. But I definitely get a lot of my inspiration these days from Behance. I get a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest and then just scrolling on Instagram really when it comes to social graphics specifically. And then a lot of times, there are some like major like a couple of different designers out there. Like I stalk Kieran's work. I told him I was like, I'm a fan. I stalk his work all the time. He's fantastic. Like I do a lot of book formatting too for clients. And so I'll go on LinkedIn and kind of go down a rabbit hole. That's actually how I found Kieran was on somebody post one of my friends that are in the design industry. They liked something that he posted. And I was like, guy. And so I went on his page and I was like, oh, he's pretty dope. So like looking at other work, because I think like as designers, you get overwhelmed, you have imposter syndrome, you feel like you're not as good as you need to do. The one thing I stopped doing though within this last, I want to say year or so, is I stopped um having my algorithm be mainly designers because what I found out, like I want to support my friends, I want to make sure I follow them and I like their work and all that. But what I found is that comparison kills. So when I'm looking at everybody else's graphics and I'm looking at what they're doing, and then I'm like, this doesn't look as good as theirs, and then I go back and I switch it, and it's all those different things. And so I really got myself to a place where I stopped like really putting all of my, ducks in. Let me go look at this person's graphics. Let me go see what they're doing. Let me go see exactly what they have going on because the next thing I know now, the whole campaign I'm working on is trash. And I'm starting all over again.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing that I don't think we talk about a lot. That affects especially like new designers. What you see on social media isn't the full story. It's kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
end, glossy results. You don't see all
Right.
of the work that kind of went into that project necessarily, depending on the account, right? Some people can be very real with their process, but
Right.
other times you're like, you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, you know, you only are seeing the part of the story that they are presenting.
Yeah, and I think
You know,
social media is a highlight reel, but as a
yeah.
designer specifically, I think what happens is that you compare yourself to other people. And I think in this last 2 years for me specifically, like going more into the creative director route versus the route of being the one that creates all the campaigns. So like I'm providing the direction for where the campaign needs to go, and then they kind of take it from there. What I'm learning is that, I just need to be content with where I am and know my journey is not going to be everybody else's journey. My journey is not like the journey that I've had as far as design is concerned is nothing similar to the agency route. Like I didn't go to school and graduate and go to an agency. and do all that. And I'm not knocking that route at all. I think that that route's great, but I think that, you know, what I found is that I got to a place to where I was always comparing myself to my peers and comparing myself to what they had going on. And it was like, oh, well, I didn't go this route, so I won't be as successful as them. Oh, I didn't do X, Y, and Z. So now, I'm not gonna have, a my journey is gonna be, a little bit different than theirs. But I also realized that my journey is what makes me me. And so it's not gonna be exactly like everybody else's, but also I connect with people that are not necessarily in the design industry per se. They've gone the route of working in corporate. They've gone the route of getting their degree later on in life. And it makes me more personable. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I said, it's comparison kills. It's one of those things where I've just gotten more comfortable with where I am with my design journey. And, hopefully that, hopefully I inspire somebody to continue, designing and not being like, I quit this, because there are days when you want to take your entire laptop and throw it.
For sure. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, clients are going to hire you for you. So it's important to be, I
Well,
think,
100%. And it's,
authentic.
well, also I think too, when it comes to clients specifically, like, they hire people that they like to work with. So like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the opportunities that I've gotten with different campaigns that I've worked on, or opportunities that I've had in my career, I've had them because people hired me because they liked me. They liked my personality. They liked the way that I, presented things. I didn't like go along with their foolishness. So it was like, hey, I wanted to, do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, that is terrible. Like, we should do something else, and not being afraid to like, give my feedback. But also, if they want to go with a terrible graphic, who am I to judge them? That's their decision. That's what they want to do with their life. Right. But still being like, I'm me. So I'm not like, trying to, what do you call it? Trying to make them happy. I'm like, you want to go this route? Be my guest. However, I think we should not do that. So
Yeah, definitely. Those could be tricky conversations to have with clients where you're like, well, this is maybe not the best for your audience necessarily. I know that you're emotionally attached to it, but let's think
right.
about your goals ultimately, right?
Yeah.
We do have another question. Robert's asking about working on conference materials. If you've ever used the data merge features or variables in Illustrator in design. I know you said you used to
Oh,
put together these graphics kind of in Illustrator and InDesign in the
yeah.
past.
So not use the data merge feature in it. And my question for him would be, in what way though? Because I'm like, I literally
Yeah.
like, I'll go in there, make the graphics, or make the, because for me, I'm making the template of what it needs to look like and kind of
Mm-hmm.
passing it off. I think there's a couple of conferences where I did like the full campaign and kind of managed everything end to end. But right now I'm in the space where it's like, hey, here you go. So
Mm-hmm.
can he elaborate on that?
Yeah, we'll see if you have any follow up, Robert, over in the Behance chat. Also, hello to Bree. Welcome to the chat. We've got Raj over on YouTube. I think Bree's in both chats. So where are we at now? We've got our
We got our
speaker
speaker
bio.
bio. Yes, we got our speaker bio. We're on the last slide where it's like, once they read the bio, hopefully
Mm-hmm.
they're sold and they want to come. And
So
so
this is
now
like
we're
your call to action.
absolutely
Okay.
register now. So please go register for the con. Uh, so that's, we're on our call to action at this point. And so, like I said, really what I'm just doing is kind of figuring out the whole thing or the whole layout of how I want
Mm-hmm.
these things to go, and trying to weave in the purple as much as I can, because that's the theme of the conference. They want purple growth.
Yeah, it seems to be moving along pretty quickly because you've got
Yeah.
kind of all these assets going.
Yeah. And I really like sat and like sat with the assets and made sure that I liked, the direction we're going in, after I gave the client, or after I went back to the client and was like, hey, I think we should go this route. Because I mean, I'm also thinking about the fact, like, even with these graphics, I have to create posters, I got to create wayfinding, like all these
Mm-hmm.
things. So think about the where we started, and it's like, actually, that won't work, just because I think that, when you're trying to do wayfinding and stuff like that, trying to make sure that everybody knows where they're going, and stretching or your image is getting skewed. Like I want to make sure that everything looks the part, because once I hand it off, I have to look at it from social and be like, oh God, what happened?
Yeah, I feel like wayfinding can really make or break a conference. Like, you
Yes,
want to make sure that people can get to their sessions and get where they need to go. It's so
right.
important.
Well, and it's also like, think about the fact that, like, in this situation with this conference, like the parking lot signs, this client has like a big billboard, or not billboard, they have like an electronic billboard in front of the building. So,
Mhm.
have making sure that people can see the information on that billboard and that it's not skewed and all that stuff. So it's,
Yeah, yeah.
all those things, having to take those into consideration and making sure that all of the graphics can be seen. So that's really where my thought process has been with it.
So Robert's got a follow up. Robert's saying, I'm a former newspaper guy, now working in youth
Nice.
ministry. Things like
Hey.
personalized name tags with photos are cool when done with the merge to
Yeah,
Excel
yeah, yeah,
sheet.
yeah. I've not actually had the pleasure of using that because I haven't had to personalize things in Illustrator. A lot of times they'll the personalization thing, like I think I've used, like, oh my God, how did we personalize things before? It's been a while. Um, I don't remember.
Yeah,
But I
so in
will say that I know exactly what he's talking about, but I
yeah.
haven't had the pleasure of using it.
Yeah, in InDesign you can put you can attach you can link it to an Excel sheet, and those top category names, you can treat them as like variables. So if you had a bunch of conference attendees and you wanted to do custom name tags, you
Mm-hmm.
could say like name, and you've got like a column down that has everybody's names, and you can link
Oh,
that
like conference
Excel.
badges.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can link that Excel column title as a variable in it. It's in like brackets, and it'll say name. And when you run a data merge, it'll replace that text with everybody's name in
that's
separate
super cool. Yeah.
badges.
I know I've done it where we've done stuff where we've had personalized badges. Like I said, I've passed everything off and been like, all right, good
Mm-hmm.
luck. Um, well, I'll have to really use that later on because I think that that's really good to know. I might actually tell them to use that for this conference. Thank you, Robert. That's really good information.
Yeah, thanks, Robert, for sharing that. Robert's saying, by the way, beautiful work and thanks for the info. Used immersion in
Absolutely.
design, but not in Illustrator. I was wondering if they work similar. So yeah, they do work similar, Robert.
What is it?
Yeah, the output is a little bit different. It outputs to artboards, I believe, that you can like switch through. But it's a very similar process with how you link the Excel sheet to the variables, and then you can output um, the files. But slightly different, I would say. They're slightly different, but not too different. That if you know how to use one, you can figure out how to use the other. So, but we're setting these up in Illustrator, and then we're going to take them over to Express,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, yes, yes. Because I have to take these. What I'm doing right now, Robert, is I'm going in and I'm creating how I want this to look in Express. And then I'm gonna copy all of my templates where it's stuff where they can where they can change the verbiage, and I'm gonna take it over there. So right now I have like this little silhouette that says photo, and then I have my verbiage. But um when I take this over to Illustrator, I mean not Illustrator, to Express, I'm gonna go in and add the verbiage on the page.
Gotcha. And we
So
are approaching already, believe it or not, the halfway mark.
I know that's why
It's
I'm headed
time
to,
is flying.
flying by. Yeah, I'm headed to Adobe Express right now, actually. Just gonna go and
Very cool.
copy the artboards that I just created so I can just show how we, create this template in
Mm-hmm.
Adobe Express. Just gotta go in here and take out text.
If you're just joining us, Patience has been working in Illustrator on some templates for a conference, and this is a real conference.
Yeah, it is.
Did we talk about that yet? I don't feel like we talked about
No,
that yet. Okay,
no, it's a real thing. It is happening in 2026.
nice.
It's happening here in Arizona. So it's actually so like my background when I started in design years ago, I started in doing graphic design for my church. So I volunteered at the church doing graphic design for years, like years.
Hmm.
And you know, it was one of those things where one, because I was early on in my career, I just wanted to be able to use my gift in a way. And I wanted to make sure that I was effective in utilizing my gift. So I volunteered, and when I felt like things would get daunting for me, or I felt like things would get to a place to where they weren't going that well, I would get discouraged. But now I was in my early 20s, but I will say that that experience that I got doing that, oh my God, like I can't even begin to talk about like how one of the nuances of just doing graphics at church, period. Like those nuances is different. And then just making sure that there's things for everything. So it's like, okay, I gotta make sure that there's, like I said, wayfinding, that there's badges, there's all kinds of things
Hmm.
happening.
Definitely. And what a great way to get experience on some real world projects, you
Right,
know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful experience. It's great. It's one of those things where it is very much so it's rewarding because you're able to learn more information about things and learn more information about, you know, how to do various graphics. And so, yeah, I think it was a very rewarding experience for me. And it was a very good experience. I enjoyed it. I thought that, you know, it was one of those things I would never trade that experience for the world. Because like I said, doing graphics that are not that like I would say this entertainment graphics and church graphics very two different worlds, but also the same at the same time because you're doing some of the same stuff. But I would say it gave me foundation. It also gave me like, it also told me like, hey, I learned feedback really well. So like I
Mm.
learned how to take feedback, how to not get my feelings hurt,
Yes.
how
That's
to not
so
get my feelings
important.
hurt, not how to not like, you know, take things personally, and just really, you know, just understand that what the client wants. And it has nothing to do with you specifically. This is literally like, this is what
Yeah.
I want, and you're either gonna give me what I want, or you know, you're gonna get off the job, or you know, I'm gonna give it to somebody else. And so I learned early on how not to take things personal.
Yeah, I think that's can be hard again for designers just starting out to like learn how to really effectively use critique and feedback when it comes
Yeah,
to their work. So,
yeah. When I think too, like, you know, it is one of those things where it is feedback is different because like I think I learned how to take feedback without getting offended. Um in doing church graphics, but then I learned how to take feedback and be strategic with the feedback in
mhm.
working in corporate. So it kind of went hand in hand. So luckily I was still volunteering when I was working in corporate as a communications and engagement leader and things like that. It was, you know, it was it was simultaneously. So it made it easy for me to be able to function when it's like, oh, I got feedback from, you know, my client at work. And then I also got feedback from the client at church or, you know, from the person I'm creating the graphics for. So, you know, I'm gonna take it and implement it. And it just made me a better designer overall, honestly.
So it looks like we're getting ready to hop over to Adobe
Yeah.
Express now.
About to go over to Adobe Express. I just saved this. I'm gonna have to close Illustrator down and then go into or reopen it because when I try to add it to my libraries are acting there. This is what happens when you're on Zoom. It decides it wants your computer decides it wants to act
Of
crazy
course, right?
like a
It doesn't want
child.
to
It acts like
cooperate.
my children. Like, oh, we're in public. Embarrassed.
So we're saving this in Illustrator then and bringing it
Yeah,
over.
we're gonna say I'm gonna
Okay.
reopen up Illustrator. I'm gonna save it in my libraries, and I'm gonna open it up in a library, or I'll save
Gotcha.
it in my folder and open it up there. So I'm just gonna reopen up Illustrator and kind of go from
Ooh, we've got a lot of nice comments around Behance. Also, welcome Professor Candon. Robert saying the critique isn't about the person, but about the work. Tough lessons.
Hi,
Um,
Professor Ken. I talked to him at Max. It's one of my
oh, there
favorite
you go.
people. Yes.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation at Max.
Carol is saying my career started with the Yellow Page ads, but also included graphics for a church and their Christian school for a few years. It included mural slash set paintings for Easter, etc. Great experiences. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. That was one of the, like, when I was like in the thick of doing church graphics back when I
Mm-hmm.
first started out, the Easter graphics, those were my favorite because I felt
Yeah.
like because you had a chance to kind of get outside the box and really get a chance to like really like put things together. Because a lot of times it'd be like the same stuff, but I felt like Easter kind of when it comes to church stuff, it's super like they get kind of reinvigorated around that time, and so
Mm-hmm.
getting out the box and really putting together what the strategy should look like was like some of my favorite things to do.
Nice. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, there's sort of, Christmas, for example, has a very defined
Mm-hmm.
look and feel to it, that I feel like
Mm-hmm.
never really changes. But
And even with Christmas, like depending on what it is, you can kind of get a little creative there. But while I got Adobe Illustrator doing whatever it is that it wants to do in the background, like open, maybe, close, maybe. I'm just gonna go along with
working
this
on it.
template that I have here. And this is why I'm gonna add. So like normally, you relink your files and stuff like that in Adobe Express. So I went to your stuff. So I had it in this folder. Um, and I have my folder here. And so I went and grabbed this and linked it here. So the file that I'm going to bring over here, the photo here, but while it add my text in Adobe Express. Right.
Gotcha. So
So
now we're
this is
putting the
that speak
info in.
the speaker name, the speaker name and their speaker title, like what I put in Illustrator. And normally I would have like my fonts and all that, but can't get Illustrator to do what it needs to do. And it's
Gotcha. You might be able to.
not no fault of that. It's just the fact that my computer just decided it one thing. And I am an Avener stan. I love my favorite fonts are like Avener, Poppins, Montserrat, like when I'm having to do certain copy. So we're gonna go in there and change that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, we're actually a little bit over halfway through the stream now. If you're just joining, um, Patience was working in Illustrator. Now we're over in Adobe Express. You can find the replay if you missed the first half of the stream. You can go ahead and go watch the replay on the Adobe Live YouTube channel. We've also got a Discord and a newsletter that you can sign up for to get notified about the schedule every week, find out about future live streams. We've also got an Instagram, a TikTok. We're on Twitch with community shows. We're really everywhere. So go ahead and grab those links. They should be in the description, both on YouTube and on Behance.
So we're just gonna add the speaker name here, and then I'm gonna get into the meat and potatoes of utilizing the Adobe using Adobe Express to make this resource library.
Gotcha. So you're gonna make these are gonna be templates that
Mm-hmm.
people can access from the library.
Yeah. So like this is specifically for like comms team. So like if you create templates for create the templates that way we can avoid them doing whatever it is that they want to do to the images. So that way when I pass this over, the comms team can go in there, update the titles, update the speaker names, and they don't have to keep coming back and being like, hey, we spelled it wrong. Well, actually, you can go right in here, update it, and then download it.
Yep.
But I did my foundation in Illustrator just to make it easier. Like I love Adobe Express. I think it's great. but I've been working in Illustrator for so long, that's my workflow. So it's very, very difficult to come out of there and be like, let me
Hmm.
create something from scratch in Express. If I have to do something quick, I'll go to Express and do stuff in Express. But if it's something where I know that I really want to play around my artboards and do all the things and take it with, like, I can take Express with me on the go everywhere that I go. But if I don't have access to Wi-Fi, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm on an airplane and the Wi-Fi is not acting right, like,
Yeah. I've definitely been there with airplane Wi-Fi before.
I can still keep going. Versus having to like kind of access things on the go. But when you don't have Wi-Fi, being able to continue to create. And then I'm old school. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. So, it's new. So trying to get to a place to where you're utilizing new materials and making sure that you're, trying new things out. Sometimes you're a creature or habit.
I think everybody has. I'm definitely an Illustrator girl. I feel like everybody has their like home base where they
Mm-hmm.
feel like if
Mm-hmm.
you've got to whip something up fast, like what are you gonna grab? But it is good to like explore these different tools because you
Right.
have
Well, the
different.
thing is, like, for me, I think I felt yeah, and I think for me, like, I started out in Photoshop, and then I went into Illustrator later on. And so from starting in Photoshop and going to Illustrator early on, just kind of got stuck there.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel like I probably learned Photoshop first, but then when I got into Illustrator and I was like, no, this is where I want to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love Illustrator. I think she's my favorite. Yeah, I love Illustrator. Absolutely love Illustrator. I got a question recently. It was like, oh, if you're stranded if you were stranded on a beach with someone, or stranded with an Adobe app, which one would it be? And I was like, Illustrator. And I went back and forth because I love InDesign too. But I was like, I don't know if it's InDesign. I don't know if it's Illustrator. So I think it's Illustrator. I think that's who I want to be stranded on a beach with.
Yeah, I've talked about in past streams about like how InDesign, a lot of people are like, why don't you just do it in Illustrator? Like InDesign is really great for like certain things that I just feel like Illustrator doesn't
Yeah.
focus on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and here's the thing: when you do a lot of like book design and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, like, I think that is where I feel like InDesign is like, it kills it, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
also like I've done a lot of I've done a lot of books and journals and things like that. And so in doing like the books and the journals and all the things, what's happened is that, I just kind of got used to being in there. I love InDesign. I've been using InDesign since I was in college.
All right, we've got our looks like we've got our speaker card.
A template.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go to my template information here and just kind of tell it.
Oh, Bree's saying in our chat, Adobe Express and Photoshop Express are my go-to. Do you let us know in the chat what your home base is? What your home base, your app is, your favorite app, where you go to?
Yeah, I think my home base is on a regular basis. Illustrator is always open, always open.
For sure. So now we're going through the settings here
Yeah, we're
for.
going to the settings to convert this to the template. So so technically, whoever has access to this can go and update the speaker name, the speaker title. So I'm gonna put here this template. You or this template. If I can spell, that'd be great. It's for
Spelling live is always tricky.
yes. Speakers happy, beautifully broken.
We are down to our last 15 minutes. letting you know, patients, and also the chat know if you have any further questions for patients before we
Yes,
wrap
please
up.
ask me all the questions. I'm an open book.
Yes, and patience is, I think we touched on it briefly, but you're an Adobe community expert as well. So
Yes,
are you
I
active in
am. Yes,
the
yes,
forums
yes,
or
yes. I'm
where
active.
can we?
So a lot of the times, I actually just became an expert earlier this
Okay.
year in May.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've been doing so far is like I did the Adobe Create Now. So I was there talking about the Creative Cloud app. Then I was at Max talking about the different apps at Max. So yeah, I've done a lot. Like I've been really, really, really blessed to be a part of the program. I actually didn't even know the
Nice.
program existed. And so I actually, when I was at, I spoke at Creative Pro. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
wording, wording is hard
Yeah. Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creative Pro conference here in Chandler this year,
Mm.
and so some of the people from the Adobe team was there, and so I went over to the booth, and one of the guys, Seal, actually, who's over the program, he goes, "Why aren't you an Adobe Creative expert? Everybody here is an Adobe Creative. Why are you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I didn't know that that was even a thing." And so he kind of explained it to me, and we talked about it, and it was a really good conversation. He's like, "Sign up." And so as soon as I signed up, I got in the back end and I realized there were so many things I was already doing, like testing out, new products and, going to different conferences, speaking at conferences, teaching, like all the things that you're getting points for. I was already doing all that. So I was like, why am I not an expert? Because I've been doing all this for years now and didn't even know anything about the program. So, got a part of the program. And so now I'm there and I've been, not looking back ever and not going anywhere ever since. And then two, when I was at the Adobe Create Now event, I met some of the people that are over the mentorship program. And
Mm.
so got a chance to get an apprentice at our nonprofit. I have a nonprofit, and the nonprofit specifically works on creating programs for children in marginalized communities and also putting together things for designers and creative professionals and small businesses. So we literally are grassroots. I just founded it once I left my job in 2024, founded the organization, and then went from there. And so basically, we got an apprentice, and so she's been doing fantastic. She actually just got highlighted on Adobe Live yesterday. Her name's Simone Grace. I got to shout her out.
On
She's a
the
on the inside the it was on the LinkedIn, and then they
Oh,
highlighted
okay.
her in the broadcast channel on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
so
saw that on the
yeah,
Instagram account.
yeah, she's freaking amazing. Like she is she's fantastic. So she actually I started mentoring her and was able to give her an opportunity to come and work at the nonprofit, and she has done some killer graphics since she's been there. So I'm just really, really proud of her.
If
And
you're
being able
curious what we're talking about, if you go to behance.net/resources, the new career resources page, you can find out more about the creative apprenticeship program and all the things, the mentorship program that Patience is talking about.
Yeah, it's a fantastic program. I think it's one of the best programs I've seen with Adobe. I wish that when I was in school or when I was like when I was in my early
Yeah,
and
I
of my
feel that.
design, yes, I'm like if there would have been a program like that where you're able to meet people and just really get an opportunity to understand like the design industry and talk to people um that can give you all the information, like oh my god, I would have been just so so happy.
I mean, it's
So I'm
hard
just
when you're first starting out, whether you're a student or
yes.
a career change, to like network, to like find people, find your
Yes.
community,
Well,
you
it's
know?
also to find your people, right? So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
trying to find the people that, understand where you come from. Cause like for me, because I started out in corporate, like I only knew corporate designers. And so I had to like really go out of the box, like really go and make sure that I was, looking for the right people. And so in my particular, I worked in the financial industry. So when you work
Mm-hmm.
in the finance industry, you're not gonna find people that are graphic designers there. Like you're not gonna find that. You might, but you might not, right? And so I
Yeah.
had to find my people. And so it took for me to go to design conferences and be a part of AIGA and all the things in order for me to really find my community. And so once I found it, I was like, okay, great, this works, but you have to find it. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's very difficult to really find your community when you're not working in that space where that is.
Yeah, definitely. And daunting too, especially if you're switching careers, right? To like,
Yes,
where do you
yes.
start? You know.
Yes. It's daunting and it's also like, you feel like you're the oddball out because it's like,
Right.
oh, all I care about is design. And they're like, girl, go in there and learn your metrics. Like you know what I mean? So it's like you're trying to figure it out. You don't really know the way to go. And like, especially with when you're graduating from college too, like where do you go? What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Who's your people? Like, where do you belong? And it makes you feel like imposter syndrome. Like, am I crazy for having this dream to want to design? Or you know, does this make sense? Or did I make the wrong choice? Or did I make the right choice? I'm artsy, but I also can make professional graphics. So what does that look like? So it's interesting. I'll say that.
We're coming up on like the last five
Yeah,
minutes here, so
we're almost
maybe
there. So we
wrap it
got
up.
we got Illustrator. So we got what we created in Illustrator. And what I did was in my libraries, I went and I created um some stuff. So I'm going to my
The
brand right.
building blocks for these
Yeah,
templates. Yep.
there you go. My building blocks for how I want everything to work. So I went in, I put my fonts in there, put my characters in there, how I wanted things to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There it is.
yep, there it is. My character style and my text, wherever it's going. Here, I'm not. Yep, this is Avener. I'm an Avener stan.
Yeah. Is that you think that's
That's
your
one of my
go-to
go-to
font?
texts. Yeah,
Yeah.
my go-to text. I just it's so clean. So
Mm.
I have to always go to Avener. Um, so I'm gonna
I feel like
add.
every designer has that like go-to sans serif and serif font
Mm-hmm.
that they use. So like
Mm-hmm.
this is the one I like out of all
Yep.
of the
That's
serifs and sans serifs
I don't.
out there.
Yes, yes. It's absolutely what it is. It's like this is the one that I enjoy. This is the one that makes things work for me. Like it just is clean. Like I vary between this one and Montserrat and what else? Montserrat. Oh, Poppins. Me and Poppins.
Yeah,
We go together. We
Poppins.
go. We go together really bad. Oh yeah, we go together really bad. Like I love Poppins. And then there's also like some new, like the new like decorative sans serif fonts that I've been seeing. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
I've really been into those too. And so yeah, I just I enjoy it. I really I like the new trend that's happening where we're getting outside the box with the way things look, especially when I spent all those years in corporate design. Getting outside the box is just I just love it. All right, so I'm just gonna go in here and put speaker bio just so we can kind of get to the next scene. And once again, spelling is hard when you're live.
And as we get close to the end, where can you said that you're not big on social, but is there a place where people can
Yeah, they
find
can
your
find me
work?
on. So I'm on Instagram. So like I
Okay.
share out the different things I'm doing on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, so I share what I'm doing on LinkedIn. I'm gonna get better at sharing my work. Definitely get better at sharing
All
my
right,
work.
I'll hold you to that.
Please do. If you don't see it, DM me and be like, hey girl, you said you're gonna do this. All right, so here's the bio. And then gonna make this a template. So we're gonna go template settings. Um, all right, so over here, template settings. I just want to make sure that everything is the way it needs to be. I'll copy this link. And then I have this, like I was we're working on the creative library really quickly. So here's the library. What I normally do is like I'll start with the template. So I'm just going to use
Mhm.
this template for now, just because it's already created. And I'm gonna go in here and change this to beautifully broken.
I am a big fan of these web pages, and I don't think they get enough
They
love.
don't, they do not. They and I don't know why. I do not know why.
I don't know.
Um,
They're a great way to like share things with, you know,
right. And that's the
very.
thing. Like I feel like, I think that they're a fantastic way to share things out. It's an easy way to go in there and just update things. I'm just gonna go grab this text over here just to change it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna change the background to a different background.
I think in the bottom,
Huh?
in the bottom right, the gear icon.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you. My
Oh,
screens are
maybe
all
not. That's
I
alt
got
text.
I got the chat box.
Hmm. I don't remember how to change it, the main image out. I thought that was going to be it.
No, I thought it was this.
Hmm. Oh, wait. Nope.
We're gonna create a new theme. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a new theme. So
Hmm.
here. So I'm gonna go down. I would love to try to figure this out right now, but it's not doing what it needs to do. So I'm gonna go down here. So what I'm gonna do is put like flyer graphics. Um so we got like 4 minutes of like flyer graphics, and then I would put like the subtitle underneath it for like what they need to do, and then I'll have like a button. And it would be like flyer template, and then I'm gonna put my URL here, save this. And so now there's a button that says flyer template. So we're gonna share this out. We're just gonna go publish this to the website. I'll go and update the graphics when I have more time. Okay. All right. So we have beautifully broken. We're gonna create this link. So this link will be what I create or what I provide to my client once I go in and add all of the details and all that. I'm gonna copy this link. We're gonna put this here. So now we have a website gonna load up. And this blue graphic would essentially be of the beautifully broken graphic once we update that. And if the person that's managing is to click on the flyer template button,
Mm-hmm.
it now provides them with a template that they can customize and make sure that they update for the conference.
Nice. So this is what you would share to the client for them to go
So
through
I
and
would
be able
share
to
this with a
access.
client for their team. And so now they're in here and they can go to each page and click on the information, update the bio, but this is their specific file that they can do. So like for our comms directors, they could go in there and adjust it and make, multiple different files with the different templates for them to access.
Nice. Well, I think we are. That's going to be do it for us on time.
Yes,
But thank you so
we
much,
made it.
Patience, for sharing not only your process but all of your wisdom and insights. On your career and kind of how you've gotten to where you are. Please follow Patience on social
Yes,
media and keep up with
it's
her on
the
LinkedIn, on
patience way.
Instagram. Yeah. But we've got more graphic design coming up next with Brady Patterson. That's going to be over on Behance and YouTube doing a sports team. So stay right here and we'll see you in the next stream. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.